Today on Domenica Montero, Episode 1. The story begins by introducing Domenica Montero, the kind-hearted woman who runs an orphanage. She has a gentle nature and genuinely cares for every child living there. While at the orphanage, she meets Max Langer, and the two quickly bond over their painful pasts. Domenica tells Max that she lost her parents when she was just 7 years old, while Max shares that he grew up in an orphanage in Costa Rica. He's visiting the orphanage to hand out dinosaur toys because he remembers how much even the smallest gifts meant to him as a child. Max also makes a generous donation to the orphanage, allowing them to finally build a computer lab for the children. We learn that Domenica was raised by her maternal aunt, Pilar, alongside her cousin Chiara. She sees Pilar as the mother she never had and considers Chiara her sister. Chiara, however, is deeply jealous of Domenica because she seems to have everything. She views herself and her mother as freeloaders who have never truly been accepted by the wealthy family around them. It's worth noting that Domenica inherited her wealth from her late father, while it appears that her mother and Pilar came from much more humble backgrounds. Meanwhile, Chiara's resentment towards Domenica runs so deep that she devises a plan to steal her fortune. Together with Max, she orchestrates their first meeting at the orphanage, followed by a second encounter where Max rescues Domenica after she nearly falls from her horse. Chiara provides Max with all the information he needs to successfully court Domenica, even creating fake social media profiles to make him appear like a successful businessman with plenty of money. The plan works perfectly. Domenica and Max begin dating and eventually become engaged. Although Max does own a restaurant, he opened it using money he scammed from 2 women. One of the victims refuses to let the matter go, and Max's friend warns him that he could end up in prison if he's caught, but Max isn't worried. First, he lives in Puebla while the woman he scammed lives in Mexico City. Second, he used his real name to scam her and not his alias, Max Langer. He even tells his friend that once he marries Domenica, he'll use her money to pay back his victims. However, Chiara and Max soon face a small problem because Domenica's most trusted advisor, who was also her late father's best friend and has helped manage the family business for years, advises her to sign a prenuptial agreement because of her immense wealth. Domenica agrees and authorizes him to prepare the document. Unfortunately for her, Chiara overhears the conversation and immediately rushes to inform Max. Despite this setback, Chiara and Max remain determined to defraud Domenica. On top of that, Chiara has secretly stolen money from her own mother. The money came from the sale of an apartment that Pilar inherited from Chiara's father, and Pilar had planned to use it to open a small cafe. Instead, Chiara tells Max that she now has 6 million pesos in the bank and that once they get their hands on Domenica's fortune, they can leave Mexico behind and live a life of luxury together. Elsewhere, Luis Fernando and his wife Paula return to Mexico after spending time in the United States, where Paula had been receiving cancer treatment. The medical expenses have left them struggling financially, but Luis Fernando reassures Paula that everything will work out. The couple later visits Mercedes, Luis Fernando's mother, who also happens to be one of the women Max previously scammed. They happily tell her that now Paula is in remission, they are finally ready to start the family they've always dreamed of because before beginning her cancer treatment, Luis Fernando suggested freezing Paula's eggs, and now that she's feeling better, Paula's sister has agreed to be their surrogate. Months pass, and the pregnancy progresses smoothly. Sadly, their happiness is short-lived. Paula and Luis Fernando receive the heartbreaking news that her cancer has returned, and this time it is terminal. Knowing what lies ahead, Paula asks Luis Fernando to promise that he won't spend the rest of his life alone. She wants him to find love again after she's gone. Through tears, Luis Fernando promises that if he ever remarries, it will only be to someone as special as Paula.